Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Victoria Nicola. I'm an indie author. I write predominantly historical novels, with some of them being fantasy or fantasy novels. My earlier published books were fantasy. I'm also an author that experienced a pretty aggressive cancel mob last year, and I talked about it in a video that I will post in the comments. If you haven't seen it, give it a watch. It's kind of a crazy story, but that whole experience led me to find some silver linings to being canceled, and I wanted to share them with you. So, silver lining number one. I got to meet all kinds of amazing other authors who were outcasts and were on the bottom with the cancel trenches with me. I found it fascinating how many people were actually canceled. And because we hear in the media, we hear about like cancellations. This person was canceled, like about big, usually big celebrities or media personalities or YouTubers or whatever. We don't hear about the people that are tiny little indie authors or creatives of some sort that barely poke their head out above water with their art and get piled on and immediately go under. And I got to meet a lot of those people. So it's really, it was kind of an honor to meet them because they're like the unsung heroes who survived and they're still out there doing their work on a very small scale. And it was really lovely to talk to them and to see that human spirit of endurance. And I also got to collect a lot of stories, A, of resilience, and B, of like incredulous circumstances. I'm literally thinking about writing some kind of compilation of canceled stories of these types of people who no one's really ever heard of and got bullied off social media platforms, or at the very least got bullied into a corner where they kind of went into obscurity. And even if they continued doing their art privately, they stopped sharing it publicly, which is a tragedy in of itself. And I always encourage those people to um, just move on and start posting, even if it's anonymously. Like, I don't want people to feel exposed and vulnerable if, because there are some truly unhinged people online. Okay. That's something that I've learned. And so people, they're like sharks. The minute they sense some kind of vulnerability, they come after you. Because some people really, truly live online. They don't touch grass. They have no concept of like human interaction and healthy human interaction. So they pounce on in these circumstances. They live for this kind of like, and I don't know if it gives them endorphins or what, like some kind of ecstasy experience. So, anywho, silver lining number one is the people that I got to meet and the stories got to hear. Silver lining number two is, in a sense, it freed me. I became liberated to speak on whatever topic I wanted, express myself however I wanted, because at that point, it didn't matter anymore. I wasn't restrained by the fear of someone like thinking something, um, so taking offense to something that I've said. Because the people that wanted to take offense to anything that I've published or said on social media already have revealed themselves, already taken the offense, already took the time to review bomb me. Like, there was nothing left to lose, quite literally, in terms of my writing and my writing world and my reputation. It was so trashed beyond any reasonable, I don't know, experience that I just began speaking on the topics that I wanted to. And um, as I've already explained, I'm a refugee from the Soviet Union, and I've shied away from talking about my family's experience and our experience in communism specifically, and my perspectives on socialism, Marxism, and communism, um, and my criticisms of those ideologies. And I've shied away from it because it is, not necessarily controversial, but very polarizing. It is very polarizing because people, it is an ideology. People become very passionate about being Marxist or being socialist and communist. And I've even seen like Leninist in people's bios. Um, and to me, it sounds crazy that people get that passionate about systems that cause millions and millions of people to die. So I wanted to start speaking on that. Whereas before, again, before I just shied away from it because it was polarizing. It could have alienated maybe some of my readers and supporters, but at that point, anybody who would have been already alienated already left, already revealed themselves. So I am free, and for that I am grateful. Silver lining number three. This one's kind of funny. I kind of do this as a joke on social media. I already talked about this, but honestly, it's true. No one will ever accuse me of getting fake reviews. Although I will say somebody kind of a bit unhinged already has accused me saying like my reviews look like yeah the bad ones are clearly real but the good ones must be fake. So I guess I was wrong on the never part, never say never. But for the most part, anybody reasonable, okay? Unhinged people will be unhinged. They will accuse you all kinds of nonsense. But reasonable people are going to take a look at my Goodreads and understand, like, I have not paid for a single review. No one's ever going to really, who is reasonable, again, reasonable, uh, think that. And the last silver lining is that I got to see who was my true friend. It really revealed people, like the people who stuck beside me, the strangers who came to my aid. It really, really tears all the masks off. So if anybody was like in my life for superficial reasons or not really there to support me or somehow in it for themselves for whatever reason, not that I had any real following and still don't. But, you know, whatever. I got to see who was a true friend, or at the very least, a good human. You know, even if we weren't friends in the traditional sense, somebody who stuck up for me online who was a stranger, that really showed me what kind of human they are. So that revelation of people and like again, it made people very transparent. And that is an incredible kind of superpower to see who's who. So I'm grateful for that as well. It's bittersweet, obviously, because there are people who I wished would have spoken up about this, who could have spoken about this, but didn't. And it was hurtful, but it was also needed. You know, it was very needed to understand like where we stood. Anyways, um, have you guys ever experienced any kind of bullying, harassment, or cancellations? If you have, what did you like? What did you pull from it that was a silver lining? Let me know in the comments.